Hey everybody, hope you're doing good today. Neil the Knife Guy here. Just doing sort of a screencast of the new 2016 mid-year release by Spyderco. Every year they put out around May, June, July, another catalog of maybe 10 to 15 different knives that they haven't released yet. And these will be released in the next maybe month to 3 months time frame. A lot of different designs, some you have seen, some you haven't. I'll just scroll right down to where they start showing the knives. The first one you see is the Advocate, another Gale Bradley design knife. This is a M4 blade steel titanium frame lock. It does have ball bearing washers in it. The unique feature on this would probably be the titanium textured scales. So this is a titanium handle which has what they're calling an orange peel texture to it. You can see here both sides of the knife. About 8 inches overall length, CPM M4 blade steel, titanium handles, and made in Taiwan, so the fit and finish on this should be really, really high. The Rubicon 2, a knife that I was never really interested in, and really still am not, but they changed the handle scales to a more sort of standard look for Spyderco. This is their G10 carbon fiber laminate. CPM S30V for the blade steel. A lot of people didn't like these sort of 3D contoured scales that this originally came from, and so they ended up doing sort of a redesign of it. Still has the titanium liners and all that, ball bearing washers. About 7.5 inches, just shy of 7.5 inches overall length. S30V blade steel, like I already said. Also another made in Taiwan. A lot of people had lock stick problems on this knife because it doesn't have a stainless steel insert. It is just a liner lock. So I don't think you'd be able to do a stainless steel insert on a titanium liner knife. The next one up is the Magnitude. Very similar to sort of the first rendition of the Rubicon, in that it has the sort of 3D machined scales to it, carbon fiber scales. Like the blade shape on this one a lot more than the original one. They're calling this one the Magnitude. I believe S30V steel, hollow grind, which I like actually from Spyderco. They usually do a really good job on their hollow grinds, and wish they do more saber grinds and hollow grinds. Sort of mix it up between the flat grinds and different types of grinds. Real carbon fiber, so it's not their carbon fiber G10 laminate. So this one will be a more expensive model by Spyderco. Also made in Taiwan. Seems like a lot of the mid-year releases this time around are manufactured in Taiwan. This is a funky one. This is from their Ethnic series. So the Euro Edge, sort of a dagger style folder, I guess you would put it. Very symmetrical from front to back, side to side. Does have their Spyderco hole. One thing that's neat is that on the other side of the blade you could see those two blade grooves, blood grooves, fullers, whatever you want to call them, running the length of the blade. On the other side there's only one, and it runs in between the two to actually give the blade some extreme strength. If you want to think of like an I-beam, it'll give it sort of that same rigidity. Definitely a self-defense knife if I ever seen one. Ed Shemp design, S30V steel. Just giving the highlights out of this paragraph. If you did want to read this, you could probably pause it and read it. G10 scales, full G10 backspacer, liner lock. Think that's just stainless steel liners. Go down to the specs here. Overall length is almost 9 inches. S30V. G10, also made in Taiwan. This one's going to tickle a lot of people. Very unique design. This is the Boris. Very similar to the Spyderco Junior, just with that very deep finger choil. This is a compression lock knife. I pretty much picked out all the compression locks they put out this year because it is my favorite locking style. This one's probably going to be made in Japan, just because I see VG10 steel. Go down to the specs here. So the closed length is about 4 inches. Overall length is just under 7 inches. So this is a fairly small knife. VG10 blade steel. Origin Japan. So this is Japanese manufactured. So that goes along the same quality lines as, let's say, your Delica, Endura. What else is manufactured from Japan from Spyderco? I think they're police models. I know they got a few others. Compression lock on this one. That's another thing that they seem to be doing a lot of this year, is putting a compression lock in their knives, whereas they'd usually sort of spread that out between years of what they would put an actual compression lock into. But I guess a lot of people have been clamoring for more compression lock knives, and Spyderco has been listening. This one's actually quite interesting to me. It wasn't when I first seen it, but actually seeing what the price will be on this, it definitely has my interest. The Reinhold Rhino. Just give you a sort of closer look at this. You see that funky blade shape? Looks like a rhino's horn. This is a very small knife. You see there, it's 5.95 inches. So just under 6 inches long, so it's a very compact knife. G10 blade, or G10 scales. Compression lock on this one also. Full flat grind, CTS BD1 blade steel. And for Canada, this knife is looking like it's going to be just around $70. So in the States, this is probably going to run from $50 to $60. Really interested in this one, just because it seems to be more of a value line, made in Taiwan also, so the fit and finish should be really good. So I'm really interested in buying this one also, just to see sort of what sort of manufacturing quality they could do in Taiwan for this price range. And also to have just a small compression lock knife would be awesome. This one, if you watch my channel, you know I really want. It's the Sage 5. All your classic Sage stylings. This one's sort of all the donations. Spyderco donates a portion of the proceeds to the Alzheimer's Association for whatever sort of percentage this knife makes. Same overall length as most of Sage's. Each one sort of is a little bit different, maybe in handle thickness or handle shape, depending on what lock it utilizes. But this one here is the compression lock. Has peel ply carbon fiber scales, G10 carbon fiber laminate, S30V blade steel, and like all the Sages, they're made in Taiwan. The Sage 1 is one of my favorite knives to actually use and carry, and adding a compression lock to that knife basically will make this knife probably one of my favorites, because it's always a toss-up between the Sage 1 and the Paramilitary 2 of my favorite overall knife, period. So this one will sort of bridge that gap together, and definitely been keeping my eye out for when this one becomes available. Excuse me. This one was sort of a neat addition. The Spidey Chef, sort of a folding kitchen knife. just over 7.5 inches. I think it's smooth G10 scales on this one. Not a liner lock, but a frame lock. I don't think there's a stainless steel insert on this one. No. Titanium handles on this. And the blade steel is one that I haven't heard of yet, LC200N. Probably gonna guess that it's a very high corrosion resistant blade steel just because they're calling it the Spidey Chef. That blade shape and that sweep in the handle and the blade would probably allow for so your knuckles don't hit the sort of cutting board when you're doing some chopping or some actual food work. Also made in Taiwan. The Jumpmaster 2, not really too up on this knife. I don't know what is actually different about this and the Jumpmaster 1. H1 blade steel, so it's corrosion. Pretty much corrosion proof. Bidirectional fiberglass reinforced nylon handles. Boltron sheath. So if you're like a fisherman, diving knife, just around a lot of salty water, that would be a good one. The Sustain, another, I believe, Gale Bradley. No, actually, I stand corrected. Stuart Ackerman's best-selling Slither design, Spyderco Sustain. So this is made of CPM 20 CV. Very awesome steel. Plain edge, made in Taiwan. 11 inches overall. Leather sheath. This is the other Gale Bradley fixed blade I was thinking of. The Junction. G10 handles, made in Taiwan. Blade steel is PSF 27. Don't know much about that blade steel either. It's always nice to see Spyderco using different blade steels. Oh, Jesus, excuse me. And then we get in sort of to the bird knives, more affordable knives. This would be the Starling 2. I'm not really up on different bird designs. 8CR13 MOV, made in China. I think like all bird lines are. Overall length, 4.4 inches. So it's a smaller knife, similar to like a bug. And that's pretty much it. And lastly, we'll show you all the ones in order. So a lot of new and sort of exciting knives to me from Spyderco this year for their mid-year release. Hope you liked this video. It was a bit different, and stay tuned for more, guys. I'll definitely have some more normal videos coming up in the near future. Thanks for watching, guys.